Alright, next we're going to learn the basics of styling and CSS. When it comes to React, there are a couple of options to style React components. The first one is regular CSS style sheets. The second one is inline styling. Third, we have CSS modules. Fourth, we can use CSS in JS libraries, which work really well with React. In this crash course, we are going to cover the first three approaches. Learning a CSS in JS library is a separate series in itself, and I'll point you in the right direction towards the end of the course. Alright, let's start with the first approach using regular CSS style sheets. Back in the VS Code, within the components folder, let's make one more file named as stylesheets.js, and let's export const style sheets and return a simple h1. Now we'll go to the app.js and import the style sheet and remove the unnecessary code. So now if we go back to our browser, you'll be able to see the style sheets component getting rendered. But what are we going to focus now is the first kind of styling, which is the regular style sheets, how we go about doing in our HTML. So how do we do that? Import dot slash, let's say we create style sheet dot css. Okay, so what do? We create the file. So we created the file stylesheet.css, and just let's say we name it as primary and color happens to be aqua. Okay, so come here, we've connected, but over here how do you do it? So we don't write class equals. As you all remember, it's class name equals, how do you do it? Primary. Yeah, where's the primary coming from? It's coming from this style sheets. So now if you go back, you see this is the first way of doing it. So as how we used to do it with the HTML, it's the same regular fashion. This is your regular style sheet way of doing things. Now if I want to go about doing inline, how is that done? So what we'll do is we'll create one more, let's say we have one more h1, okay, or let's say h2 for that matter. And now if you want to inline it, one way of doing it is you tell style over here, and since it is to be styled, one curly brace for the JSX and one more for the style object to come in there. So now if I tell color and tell red, yeah, this is one more way of doing things. So we have seen two ways. This second approach can also be written something like this. So you have const, and you can tell you are styling a heading or something. So const heading equals the object, and let's say color, you say green. Okay, what you can do is let's take this, I'll change this guy. Okay, style equals one curly brace, you're gonna pass the heading. The one more is situated within this, right? So you don't need to give two. So both the things, the line number 10 and 11 are doing the same stuff, but in a different sense. So one is declaring things over here and using, one is directly doing it inline. Both these ways are called inline styling. So if you see, there are three things as of now. Now the third approach that we discussed was using modules. So as you can see, okay, as of the update, I guess they've removed the modules CSS way of doing things. What we'll do is we'll create a new file. Okay, we'll create a new file called as style sheets dot module dot css. Okay, here what we'll do is we'll tell, let's take secondary. Okay, I forgot the dot, and then we'll tell color, we'll tell tomato. Yeah, now let's jump back to the style sheets. Now if I take one more style over here, Let's take this as h3. And for style, what we'll do is first you'll have to import it. Okay, so import dot slash style sheet dot module dot css. Okay, now how do you do this is here you'll write, okay, import. One thing which I forgot was import, you should name it something. Import styles from. Okay, this is how you name it. Okay, and then you'll use here as styles dot whatever the thing was. So we had a secondary, right? So this, what does it say? The style prop accepts the mapping for style properties, not a string. Okay, what's going wrong is we'll have to put it within this, I believe. Nope. Okay, what could be going wrong? Import styles. We have secondary. So we've used the secondary. It is asking for a, sorry, it's asking for a properties to value. Okay, what does it say? Okay, I made a mistake of this. It's class name. Sorry. So now you understand. You can actually omit these. You can remove those. Now it makes sense. Yeah. Okay. So first way, as usual, you have a class name. You have a .css file. Link it. It works. Second way is inline. I've told you two ways of inline. One being directly written over here, and you can just put comma and write the next of the styles as well. But the thing is, it look clumsy, so we go about using this way. So wherein you write all the styles which you usually end up writing over here, like these many, you just put a comma over here and go on writing and then just call it over here. This is cleaner way of writing inline. Third way being modules. So modules, what are we doing? We're going to write the same way as how we write other styles, but uh, sorry, where's the modules? Yeah, so you go the same way about writing things, but when it comes to the way you utilize it is using the class name itself, and you'll give a name to it. Okay, calling it as styles or anything, but convenient way of doing things is styles, and then whatever the style property you want to give it. So by this you're trying to actually make a distinguish between whatever the styles are there in one module to another. So if I had a, what do you say, if I had a primary over here as well, right? So let's say primary, and then here the primary color, if you see, I'll just give it as gray for now. Okay, but style sheets.module.css has a primary property which says color gray, and style sheet.css which has a property called primary which says color is aqua. Now in the style sheets, okay, so it's taking from this, right? Now assume that I had one more, and now here I'll give primary, and this I'll give it as h4. You're seeing the difference. You're able to distinguish, even though there are two different part of codes like styles, even though they have the same property called primary, modules will help you in distinguishing things for you. So even though here you have a class name called primary, it is taking from this, but here it is taking from whom? It is taking from this one. So I hope styles in React is somewhat clear. The fourth one being said that we'll have a look at it as the course ends. I'll navigate you to the necessary playlist or videos for that matter. So with that, I guess this is pretty much the basics of styling for your React components.